Me then, please.
Okay, Councilmember Hogan,
Aye.
Councilmember Reed,
There.
City Administrator Mark Bassoon,
Here.
and Engineer Hungerford,
Here.
Road Works Director. McPhee.
Here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, approval of minutes, January 7th, 2026. Look good, Laura. Thank you very much. Public comments or any presentations?
None.
Thank you. I guess, Ryan, are you taking building department?
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be excellent,
I
but
got the sheet.
I will
You
tell
got
you.
the sheet, I got the sheet, but it's not as big as we're getting used to.
Yeah, so looks like based on the information Laura kind of filled me in on from Tim, he's actually out at the Soldiers Home doing some inspection there and kind of got hung up. Looks like we've got 15 permits that came in so far for the month of January, a couple of street right-of-way ones, a couple single family homes, a re-roof or two, and then some residential mechanicals. And over on the right-hand side, it does look like some of those have been completed and or issued out at this point. Any questions?
No, now that, oh, I see. The total is 15 and 8. Is that for like the year then, do you know? Or
So far, just for the month of
January.
January 2026.
Yeah.
for the, okay.
Year to date, right?
Oh, okay.
Consider that slow or average or?
I think that's probably pretty consistent. As we finish up with getting Rainier Meadows Part 2 into final plat, and they start building the homes out there, that I imagine will start to pick up. I know Bridgewater, the one right off of Calistoga, right before you hit the Puyallup River Bridge right there, that one's been pretty steady, seeing multiple home permits come in.
Where's the other one?
It's off of Calistoga and Skinner, essentially, by the Calistoga.
You know, the one,
Or the
when you're a
white
little
barn.
concerned about the,
Rainier Meadows is actually all the way down here.
Oh, gotcha.
That one there, once we do go to final plat and they're able to start construction of homes, I want to say 41, I
Yeah,
think is the
that's
number
right.
that I remember.
Did you say 41?
Yeah, 41 homes going out there.
Nice. Anything else for building? Yeah. We'll go to administration. Mark, are you handling that one?
well, I think that Brian's going to try to do this one too.
Yeah, I got this one.
Thank you.
Something that we have been working towards, not 100% there just yet, is the prior city council had a goal of knowing kind of what's going on with the SCADA system alarms themselves. One of those elements is it does present a security risk if we had adversaries that were taking a look with individual named like tags for inputs and outputs. It creates a little bit of an area where we have some security concerns. So I have worked on getting a report together, but I didn't get a chance to get one for this meeting. But I will target trying to get something together for March as well. It would be just a high level summary of kind of the general types of alarms. It won't be the specifics down to like this hand off auto switch had an alarm or this tripped type of thing. It'll be kind of categorized by the types and levels of the alarms, ones that require us to go out and physically do something, or ones that just alerting us that, hey, this lift station pumped down to a low level, we need to go out and just kind of reset flows types of things. So we'll put that together again and get that to you guys hopefully here in March.
That's alarm on all wells.
On the water and wastewater system, yes.
There's a ton of them, couple 300 or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of alarms. Some of them are just alerts, notifications for staff. Others are ones where we do go out and take some level of action
So-
just for clarification, just, there's like 300 alarms, but there's not 300 things in alarm state. There's 300 points that have capability to alarm. I don't have the exact number, but it's around that. And so some of them may be like when every week when the generator exercises itself, it says, well, one generator running, we expect that, and that's a normal alarm. It's not any action needed. It's just like where's normal symptom.
So that was request by past Public Works Committee that they wanted the whole list of specific alarms, and then after staff reviewed that request because they wanted to make it totally public, we realized that we could create a security risk for us. So that's where we're gonna go. So that next meeting where we'll be doing I guess we're gonna do our committee meetings in mass in March. We're gonna try it, so with all the council, so we won't be split up. It's my understanding right now.
I think February, actually, you guys, I think
February?
they decided that after our first formal meeting here on the 11th, the next week, we'll do the
Oh, do the,
meeting of a whole.
Okay.
Yeah, starting at 2:00.
okay,
If it passes the council or.
Yeah, I think that has to pass the council.
but yeah,
On
from
the
the ad
11th.
hoc, that was.
Yeah, that was the ad hoc committee.
Is the idea.
Yeah.
So. It'll be interesting. So. Good on that, on the alarm stuff. Thank you, Ryan.
Mhm.
I'll give you a little break just for a minute.
All right, I appreciate it. I'll take it.
Engineering report, JC, how you doing?
Doing well, as usual, I typically just kind of go through these and feel free to ask questions as I work through the 4 projects listed here that I'm actively working on, so. WashDOT Fish Passage is actually the water line that we are designing in conjunction with WashDOT's design of the Fish Passage projects at Card Creek and Roush Creek on this service between Orting and South Prairie, so. Because Orting has a franchise utility agreement, it's your responsibility if WashDOT does a project, have to relocate water line as your cost. So WashDOT's moving forward with their design, coupled with that, they're doing a roundabout at Orville Road, so it's essentially 3 projects that we're designing around right now. We met with the WashDOT design team earlier this afternoon, First Director Ryan was on the call as well. And got a good cadence of coordination with them. We're gonna be delivering our design documents to them here in the middle of February for inclusion in their documents. They'll be working with us to identify any conflicts with their design and that type of thing. So things are moving along on schedule, and I think the project's moving along okay. So right now we're kind of working collectively with WashDOT and supporting design.
Are we still planning on whoever gets the contract to have them do our work? Is that the idea?
Yes, the intent there for the construction side is through a utilities agreement with WashDOT, they would provide all the construction management kind of oversight. We would provide a construction inspector for the water line portion of the project. And then once our water lines are in, our inspector will go back to inspecting other projects that we have, and it'll be back over to WashDOT. So ultimately what will happen is WashDOT will have their schedules, and then in the bid docs will be our schedules. And so we'll be responsible for the costs associated with our schedules there. The benefit of working with WashDOT in tandem, really since the start of the project, probably 6 to 8 months ago, when the conversations started to happen, is reducing the amount of burden to all taxpayers and our utility rate payers as well. So you don't have duplication of mobilization of 2 different contractors. The requirement for us to get in and get our stuff done before WashDOT, you're reducing the amount of traffic control that's required overall, and the project length and duration and disturbance to the public as well.
So we make contract, when we get the water lines in for WashDOT, not water lines.
So it's going to be kind of a couple of phases. The first set of phases is really getting the culverts in and everything at Card and Roush Creek. That'll happen first, likely by November of 27. And then by November of 28, the roundabout portion will have to be constructed. So our water lines currently run right next to the edge of where those creek culverts are going to go. So we'll have to do a temporary relocation of the water line so they can get their box culvert installed. And then we'll mount that back to the edge of the bridge. So that'll be kind of, sorry, the culvert at both of those locations. And that'll kind of be the first phase of the work in tandem with WashDOT. The more complicated one, I think, is going to end up being the roundabout at Orville and 162. There's a lot more utilities that are out there that are in conflict that are going to be planning to do some relocations, whether it's PSE doing new overhead to underground. The comm sector has a lot of stuff that's running through there. Working with WashDOT, we kind of have a little bit more priority on that underground space. Yeah.
Similar, yeah, it's Valley Water's doing their water line out there, yeah.
Yep.
I think the Valley Water Project, they're doing their water line under separate contract, whereas we're gonna be basing off this contractor. Other benefit is permits, because we have to work in the creeks themselves, WashDOT pulled us into their permits, which helps clients, that's time with them expensive, so that was a big benefit to the city.
So that'll be one of our couple large water main projects that'll be happening here in the next year and a half.
No.
There's only 2 additional meters that are being added that WashDOT's paying for. One of them is to help kind of reestablish, because they're realigning how the creek flows right there by the Baxter property, just south of the roundabout on 162. And then one of them is also for a property owner that doesn't have a metered service yet. Yeah, just a few.
Okay. Good deal.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, go.
No.
Thank you. Stormwater plan, working with the city, almost daily back and forth with Derek, the storm lead, as well as Director McBee on that. So we've sent some documents over to the city for review. And with ultimate goal is obviously the city's working on their rate study, getting the CIP developed for council view, and then inclusion through the study. So that's what that's at. Water system plan, similar. We had a long, lengthy workshop yesterday with the water leads here in Army yesterday at our office for about 3 hours, working through your risk and resiliency assessment, which is like risk to your water system assessed with not only natural hazards, but you know, terrorist attacks, any vehicular crash, obviously earthquake, flooding, and then the emergency response plan, how the city will respond to those elements, and some of the projects we can do, can recommend for the city to harden your facilities for those type of things. They include hackers and your SCADA system. So long conversation yesterday. I appreciate the city staff for dedicating that time to that and giving their eyes and ears on the ground of what they're seeing during the events. And so likewise, that is running parallel with water system plan. And we're developing a CIP that'll include those project elements as well. So.
And that will totally relate to our rate study
Yes.
plan too,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And that's coming out this year sometime, or? I can't
Yes,
remember.
they should be complete around June timeframe.
Okay, so, and we started last year, right?
Yes.
It's been almost a year, then it'll be,
It'll be about 6 to 7 months in total from when we started. I want to say we got all the RFI requested information to the consultant in November timeframe, and they started working their modeling and processing everything through.
okay, great, thank you.
Sorry, is my plan that our plan was already in the works from the past for a water system.
So we're redoing our water system plan. There was one that was done, but it has elapsed. So it's outside that 10-year planning threshold window for the water system plan. But we're being very proactive to make sure that we get this one done, get it incorporated in, so we have a good roadmap.
Any surprises or you kind of follow what we were already in place?
I can't speak necessarily to what the old plan was. Haven't looked too much into that CIP, but we did carry forward anything that was on that plan that hadn't been executed or been further planned for. Some of the items we've got, like the Kansas water line replacement, that's going to be happening soon. We've got White Hawk Boulevard extension, making sure that that one is included with the cost estimate from JC's team at Parametrics. Some miscellaneous other projects as well.
Here's what's kind of talk about the rates for the city of rates. In line with the study from the board's recommendation, but we should be ready for each year. More than that, you might be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't know what, I know what the rate is right now. I know what a person pays on average right now, like this year, right now. The question is, what are those to go to? And the city has always tried to, kind of keep a 3 to 5% increase a year. However, the council did not set a new rate. They wanted to wait till the study was done, is my understanding.
That's correct.
So we don't have any good numbers from the Rafdeli yet to know how things are going. Going to be a lot of decisions we'll have to make there. You guys will have some choices to make probably. How aggressive we are at some expansion development. No, that's there is in your heart and your mind, but yeah.
Yes. So Dale, the council elected not to, while the rate study was in place, they froze raising the rates. The only problem with throwing the dice like that is when we get done with the rate study, the rates might go higher instead
Well,
of
to make
just
up,
going
yeah,
like
to make
this.
up for a year
Next
miss.
We got to make up. We might have to make up for that year. So
That's right.
we might hear about it.
What I heard was, I thought they said it was already set, going up a little bit at a time.
Yeah, but till last year, or till we started the rate study and council decided
Right.
to freeze the rate. Because there was a tier rate all the time, 3 to 5 or whatever it was
Right.
percent. But so, yeah. Yes,
You know why they did that?
majority vote
Yeah.
for most of them, so. Not my majority.
Yeah, next, probably within the next month, have some really good information for you. There's a lot of information that's going to see what we right now. Mark's been reviewing it. And some of the options we have to make, you guys have some tough choices that are just me with choices that directly relate to what the ratepayers we tolerate for a threshold, what needs to happen and stuff. So I think there's some big decisions for you guys to look at in the very near future. Yeah.
And Ryan, did you give this that 3-ring binder? Was that the stormwater plan? you gave
That
us?
was the general sewer
General
plan.
General sewer plan. Can you give one to Dale?
Yeah, I can make one up.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, JC.
Okay, totally, that's what we do is open casual communication through this project, so I appreciate it. City standards, we've gone through a series of meetings with various utilities to understand what they've been working with and where the challenges are with current standards, so we're working on making those updates and we'll be developing a draft submittal to Ryan and the public works team here shortly.
Okay, great, thanks. Any questions for JC? Okay, thank you very much, JC. I can't believe WASDOT is still rolling along in a timely manner.
It's really been the weekly meetings with them have been good, just keep us all accountable and on the same page. I felt like they were off designing in a vacuum, we were kind of doing the same, so that's been really helpful. We just get on with their engineers, everybody shares screens, and we just kind of look at, hey, is this power, today we're talking about power pole, is this power pole moving or not? Yes or no, so we can design around it, so
Okay, good. Thank you. Want to try it again, Ryan? We see Public Works.
All right, we'll give her a go. Sludge reduction project update, they're at the plant. Our staff have been working collaboratively with Roglins, and we're coming up with some unique solutions to help them be more productive and get more sludge into the bags. At this moment, they're running into some snags with, as they're pumping out of the lagoon, there's a lot of debris that we have to screen out of the materials that's being pumped. So they're experiencing a lot of clogging. So they'll get about 2 hours of runtime and then have to kind of shut down all the operations, clear the screens, and then be able to kind of restart. So what we're actually working on doing with them right now is use the existing chlorine contact chamber right there, kind of in between the berm and the actual plant itself. And we're going to use that essentially as our giant screening method. So they actually installed a large 3/8" mesh screen, which is the requirement for the administrative code for this type of work, mainly to make sure that there's no inorganics that are making it into the bags. So tomorrow they'll have that all fired up, and hopefully we will have a good consistent mixture that will go in for the polymer to be added to get it all to clump together. So it sticks and stays inside the bag, and then all of the waterous liquid will roll back out and across the impervious membranes that are out there on site right now, back into the lagoon itself. So staff is working pretty hard to help them achieve that goal.
So how do they pick when it's time of the year to start?
The challenge wasn't necessarily with Roglins, our contractor. There were some changing of the goalposts and distances from Department of Ecology. Ecology had said, nope, we're on board. We support the idea and the plan. And then we started going through getting the tech memo and the sampling and analysis plan together and starting to work through that coordination with them to get everything moving. And it was about a 2 or 3 month kind of delay from Ecology that kind of held us up, unfortunately. We were ready to go. I think the ground was all prepped and ready, bags on the ground, ready to go by end of November. And then Ecology kind of still had us holding off until we had approved plans.
So I can kind of wait and see the sun.
Well, that was just Ecology said do it now. With the wet season, yeah, obviously, dewatering things and wet weather is, but
Increase the cost by quite a bit.
I don't know if we had a huge cost increase necessarily, because we're not digging in the ground associated with this. But the prior mayor declared an emergency under direction of Ecology. And so that's how we ended up with this contractor in particular. I had worked with them on a similar project out in Montesano that they had done this approach. So we brought a few contractors out to consider it, and they were the most responsive and receptive to the idea. Yeah, obviously dry weather would be advantageous, but Ecology, they gave us that. Ecology said do it now, so.
Yeah. And I will say that up until about midweek last week, when they started to pump in the bags and we're experiencing some of those challenges, we had been able to make some significant progress on our own with our own internal staff to pump basically some of the rainwater that was off the top of the lagoon back in through the process. We were able to probably gain 6, 8, maybe 10 inches of space. But we've had to stop doing that at this point with all of the solids being kind of disturbed, so we don't upset the process itself. But I'm very optimistic that this solution is going to get us to a good, stable, steady performance and getting stuff into the bag. So that way, next week, as long as everything's going good and smooth, I'll probably extend an invitation to the Public Works Committee and of course the mayor and city administrator to come out and take a look. But we're slowly moving in the right direction, which I anticipate will pick up pretty quick.
Running
Essentially, yeah, the lagoons are old beyond their design capacity, and so ecology directed the city to do something to at least the interim regain design capacity within the plan, so that's why we arrived at filling these geobags as a quick interim solution. There's a long, multiple other ways to deal with it, but just given the time constraints, this was what we felt was the best alternative right now.
Offsite.
Right. Right. So that's step 2 is having all these back offsite.
But the good thing is we'll have a lot of water out of it before we have to.
Yeah, that's what the bags do is they squeeze the water out, so your hauling cost is reduced. Just hauling pure water is expensive.
Okay.
Any
That's it for
other,
that, Ryan?
any other questions on that one? We'll move on to the Ording Emergency Evacuation Bridge. At current, we are about 6 weeks ahead of schedule. Could potentially be 8. We'll see how it goes here in a couple of weeks with the next concrete pour on the west side ramp. What you have probably seen as you were on your way to City Hall today or through the area is the east ramp is now uncovered, so you can see a nice ramp all the way up to the top. What you don't necessarily see as you drive by on the back side of that pier, they had poured the lower set of stairs on the east side that goes down towards Rocky Road. Those are all now uncovered, looked really good. They'll start stripping formwork here pretty soon on that. But their biggest focus right now is taking these super stud structures over and build up that west side ramp and get that ready to go. So if everything goes according to plan, no hiccups on the contractor's part, they should be pouring that first element out there, which would be those cross beams by, I want to say 3rd week of February, roughly.
You're saying they're 6 weeks ahead of the original schedule?
Yes. We collectively have been blessed with great weather for the month of January to where it has not been temperature restrictive for doing concrete pours. So they are definitely taking advantage of that, but they were also prepared for not being able to do that during this time as well.
When's the magic coating start going on?
I don't have an ETA on when we're doing the pigmented sealer on the bridge, but I do know that they are out there doing spot grouting and cleanup on all of the exposed concrete to get ready for that when it does happen.
Okay, thank you.
One other interesting item of note, Department of Commerce actually reached out to Ashley and myself here. I think it was at some point last week. There is a unobligated $100,000 grant from Commerce for the project as well. So we're working through kind of finding out a little bit more about that and how we can utilize that to help some of those costs as well. So we're just kind of working through that right now a little bit, but so far, project's going well.
Thank you. Safe streets?
Safe Streets for All, we have reviewed about 6 or 7 different documents that go along with that project. And we've got a staff and city advisory group scheduled for Friday at 11 down at Public Works. It'll be a multi-group team. We'll have Councilmember Hogan kind of volunteered, nominated himself.
I think I got appointed.
Yeah, something along that lines. As our council rep, we also have representatives from the school district, Pierce County's Parks and Trails, and a couple other members that have interest in making sure that we have good, safe routes and safe streets for all. Ultimately, what they've done is they've gone through and looked at all of the vehicular crash data and incidents and evaluated up to 11 intersections for potential pedestrian improvements to improve safety. Some of those improvements are adding potentially better lighting, RRFBs, the rectangular flashing beacons, as well as better crosswalk markings, identifications, and working towards getting that stuff kind of vetted out. We provided a lot of comments between both Mayor Drennan, myself, Ashley, our capital projects manager, and that is actually with a firm called Keller and Associates, and they've got a couple subs that are part of that process as well. We also took comments from the city residents and those that commute through the city as well. I think we've got about 300 or so comments that were incorporated in, and some of that feedback as well. Down the road, I would anticipate to seeing some kind of proclamation, an ordinance. We don't necessarily know what avenue we're going to propose, basically to adopt the Safe Streets for All. And then what that leads to down the road is additional funding opportunities through that same program to work on some of those intersections that we have.
Ryan, was that a federal thing?
Yes, this one is a federal program.
Right, so I mean, it's nationwide type of thing.
Yes.
And we got the grant for, that's how we hired Keller, right?
That is correct. Yes, we were able to hire Keller through that grant process. One area that we did have them not take a look at intentionally was Kansas Street, knowing that we were getting ready to do a full renovation and update of Kansas itself. They did look at the crash data and provided a little bit of input there, but we purposely didn't ask them to propose any projects in that region because we were getting ready to do the project itself.
Think it'd be a good idea to they could see some projects that needed to go along with construction, like, or they look at that further.
The biggest one that they looked at was the Calistoga and Kansas intersection, where we're planning to put a roundabout there. They did provide us some information for that one that we can include in that process. Yes.
I mean, it's more against the zone drive down.
It'll still be the same speed limit unless the council decides to change that or add traffic calming related measures in addition to the bulbous kind of intersections that will hopefully make people slow down a little bit more. But I think some of that falls to the Public Safety Committee as traffic calming, in my understanding, but please correct me if I'm wrong.
This actions or actions reported on both ends of campus and report. So I'm sure you probably are aware of what's on Kansas on that didn't go well. The other one was at Weitzel by the school off that corner there. That was marked for a number of years since. I was surprised for the bridge of that at 17 there. So there were some quite a few high risk areas in Kansas, which probably off of the
race traffic. We have it 1 o'clock in the morning, cars going in excess of 60 miles an hour. Quite a lot.
Totally agree. How come a box of nails falls off your truck every day out?
I think like, yeah, 1.5 to 3 feet long, I believe. Pins off trailers. Anything you think of, in front of my house, and I just live in the middle, just think all the rest of people together.
How far do you think is between saw pets on Kansas? It's like every 50 yards you get a bump going down, and the semi goes over down. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on Safe Streets, Ryan?
No, sirs.
Foothills Trail realignment, safety enhances. We're revisiting that, is that an understanding?
Yes, that is my understanding as well, based on the email that we received from the mayor. We are going to request a construction extension this week or early next week, get that into PSRC. We've got construction funds and we have design funds as well. So what we've been trying to work through over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 months between working with WashDOT, get their concurrence with our council approved from last year, our contractor who proposed on doing the design. There was some delay there getting the final approval from WashDOT to bring them on board. So it bumps us up in about 6 to 7 months with the obligation date for those construction dollars. So we've got to request a 1-year extension through PSRC,
That's good.
which shouldn't be hard for us to do given the circumstances around the delay in the design. Was not necessarily caused by us as a city, but by WashDOT itself, essentially.
I think the Mayor has an update on that, the realignment of the trail with our meeting this morning, or was yesterday? Okay.
So, Mark, your summary of that would probably be, we were positive, they were really receptive to the impacts that would have the park. Laid out all of the impacts, you know, that this council may want to rethink and relook at prioritizing the selection before we move the trail alignment and potentially say the same alignment with that safety improvements to it. So, Mark, you had some.
Yeah, so it's called a rescope, you know, to go to one of the other alternatives that the park plan had called for, which is to leave the trail where it is now and come up with some safety fixes. Yeah, I think one of the hard things will be, so we're going to work a rescope at this point, as long as the council agrees and discontinues the work that we were planning on for going right through the trail there at the wall. But we got to come up with a pretty substantial plan, you know, and there are some things that are more substantial than others. But we'll be bringing that to you, and we'll all look at that and see what we can come up with. The other is to give the money back to them, which they didn't particularly discourage as a problem or causing a problem for us. But in the meantime, we'd like to see if we can keep it, if we can come up with something that's going to create safety, but leave our trail where it is.
Okay. So we're good there, Ryan?
Yep.
How about? Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Mayor. General sewer plan, biosolids facility, anything else? I mean, no, this is our project, right?
Yep, this is the two kind of projects that Wilson Engineering are working on kind of in tandem. The general sewer plan was submitted, we got comments back. And at this moment, we've asked them, Wilson Engineering, to hold on replying back to Ecology with our comments until we can get our full picture around what their proposed CIP plan is for capital improvements. And then that way we've got a good chance to kind of look at it, digest it, and make sure that we've got projects planned in the right time for when the plant needs those types of upgrades, or the system itself needs some of those upgrades, like slip lining some piping, addressing some infiltration and inflow during storm events along that lines. You also have a plant that is pretty robust in age, put it that way.
It was a nice word.
I was trying to be nice, right? It's a plant that's been around a while. It needs some reinvestment in critical elements of the infrastructure. So we've got a lot of things that are on those CIPs that we need to make sure that we properly balance as we move forward. And I'll just kind of leave it at that at this point. The biosolids facility, we had requested $15 million of additional funding from Department of Ecology back in September. as part of their process. They went through, they scored our project, they reviewed everything in the documents. They actually approved the facility design report and the plans and specifications for a biosolids facility there. The one thing that we just found out last week, I think it was probably Wednesday, Thursday timeframe, they being Department of Ecology, issued the preliminary offer list, and our project did not make it onto that list of potential funding from Department of Ecology. The way it reads is that we were asking for $35 million. We definitely were not when I filled out the application for it, because we have a $10 million Public Works Board loan for the project, and we have additional city funds from the wastewater department as well. So we were just looking to make sure that we had enough to fill that delta between what we had on hand and available versus the engineer estimate. So we wouldn't necessarily be able to go out for advertisement or bid for that project without having all of the funds secured.
So is there any way you can correct that, or is they just misread it type of thing?
So I'm in the process of figuring out how to adjust that and make those corrections. They're in a 30-day comment period right now, so I'll make sure that we've got those comments in there just to help them understand and find out if it was an error on my part as I filled out the application, because it was my first time. But I also had Wilson, our engineer, with us. We filled it out together. So just trying to make sure that we don't miss an opportunity to potentially get some funding for it. That's where we're at.
Any other questions, staff? Any other comments on that?
At this point,
Okay, yeah,
we're working on it a lot.
it's been a long haul. Wish someone shut that. He's getting too. Okay, White Hawk Boulevard Southwest Connector.
We met with JC and Jack, our engineer on the team for that project. And we've got our NEPA approval, and we're just working through getting kind of alignments over to WashDOT on that. And then we'll be able to proceed a little bit further into the right-of-way acquisition topics.
So we need to get all this done before we go after the resolution. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Go step by step, watch that.
Oh, to do that kind, do it, I mean.
Yeah, there's definitely a prescribed step-by-step directions for doing kind of what we're doing here. What you'll end up at the final end of the project, whenever we are actually constructed, you'll have a roundabout at White Hawk Boulevard and 162. And then you'll also have another roundabout on the opposite end at Calistoga in Kansas at that intersection. We've got 2 rental properties that the city had purchased. One, I believe, is 703 Kansas, and the other is on Calistoga. I don't remember the address, but currently we are generating some new income by having renters in those properties as well. So we'll have to go through a right-of-way acquisition process through another property in order to complete the project. But once it's done, you'll have a full-on connection all the way from Kansas over to White Hawk for vehicles to travel through. Part of that will include stormwater lines, a water line that's going to go down the road. Won't necessarily be sewer lines. It's just not quite feasible in that location. And then there'll be probably some integration there, taking into consideration the White Hawk Boulevard extension with our White Hawk Bratzer Master Park planning process as well. So
Traffic at White Hawk and 162.
both of those will be roundabouts. And roundabouts are great, even though they don't necessarily appear great. Your typical intersection, if it's a 4-way intersection, you usually have about 8 to 12 conflict points where collisions and slower interactions with traffic could occur. With a roundabout, depending on the number of intersections into the roundabout, you really cut that number in half. As well as having pedestrian refuge locations kind of in the islands in between the oncoming and offgoing traffic at the roundabouts. The other important item there to know is with the school district now having their bond approved, right there at Rocky Road and Highway 162, they're planning on building an elementary school. And it's very likely that they will have a roadway on their property that will connect Daffodil to that White Hawk Boulevard roundabout at 162. So those are kind of the longer lead items that kind of build that out a little bit more.
But that was always, on Daffodil, it was always the thought that it was gonna go through eventually, correct?
Yes, that is the intent down the road, yes.
Okay.
Which I know my staff would definitely appreciate being able to go out at White Hawk Boulevard versus all the way through the neighborhood.
Yeah, all in butt through the neighborhood. Just kidding. Oh, I appreciate they're very patient going through. I watch you, Laura. So thank you. So you don't think we're gonna change White Hawk Boulevard to Tire Dust Lane, are we?
No, we're not. And part of our long struggle with getting the environmental approval was the tire dust, the 6 ppdq. And we have worked through that process, and we'll add a little bit of like biofiltera type filters as well to address that issue. That's how we were able to get the right approvals for the project.
To get through that area specifically, that was just that wetland area, wasn't it? Or,
Yes, I believe so.
okay. Anything else on White Hawk?
Nope.
Okay, Kansas Street reconstruction, please.
Kansas, we're working through a lot of submittal approvals right now. We've got their schedule tentatively looking like end of February or beginning of March is when we would be able to start. We're also waiting on Department of Ecology to give us the final approval on the general stormwater construction permit. The city went ahead and filed that about a week and a half ago, and we are just waiting on them to give us that approval. Once we have that, we'll be able to transfer that over to ACI, the contractor for the project, and then it will become their responsibility.
To control the runoff.
That is correct.
Yeah, during construction.
Yeah.
I'll still probably have to do a report, but we'll be able to get that from ACI.
Sure. Great. Anything else?
And then I do have one item that's not necessarily on the agenda that I would like to add. Sorry, Laura. Last, I want to say it was 2024, I was able to secure a $49,000 TIB grant for LED light conversions of streetlights. And just wanted to let you guys know that we are officially complete with that project. 167 total fixtures were replaced and converted over to LEDs. And that actually cut energy consumption by 76% for those streetlight fixtures. So we
How
should
much
be
percent again?
76.
And we pay the streetlight bill, right?
And we do pay the streetlight bill. With that, our total cost to the city was $8,529, and that'll be reimbursed by TIB to the city. PSE was able to also provide some rebates as well, some incentives. So we did a good job of improving our lighting system, those LED lights, if they are too bright or not bright enough, depending on what their settings are. It's easy for me to reach out to PSE and adjust the brightness of those. We did have one resident over in over by the Public Works shop. Can't remember the street on Waddell. Thank you. And they had complained to us that, hey, this light at 100% is way too bright, even with their blinds and curtains closed inside their home. So we were able to get them to reduce that to about 50% brightness. and there really was no change in the overall brightness level at street. So
Homeowner was
Been good.
satisfied.
yes.
Cool. I remember when you got that grant, that's nice.
That was my first one.
Yeah.
So, other than that, I don't have any other updates.
Thank you very much. Dale, any more questions? Thank you. How about finance? We got anything?
Nope, no updates.
You? New business agenda item AV 2619. On-call engineering contract request for qualifications, correct?
Yes. We're just putting together the document right now for the RFQ. It has not gone out yet. We would require the council to approve that before we put it out. I do want to say that some of the discussions the mayor and I have been having, this is in response to the concerns we heard from council members, new council members, and those that are still there. We may want to look at going a little slower on this than faster. And we'll be talking with you about that over the next few weeks.
Okay, so it's just informational
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
and then we'll get information at study session then, or,
Or
okay. Good. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So. Anything from, thank you, Mark, appreciate it. Councilmember Reed, anything else you want to add? Thank you. Final comments? Well, we'll see if the council approves our new restructuring and committees to see how it goes.
Last week went through all, yeah. So hopefully we'll be bringing recommendation for those changes. So this might be one of our last individual committee meetings. We'll go to that structure poll together.
So we'll see. Well, thank you very much, Public Works, for your hard work. I'm sure we'll see you at the group. And
It'll be a little different, but I think it'll help repeating a lot of information.
Sure.
We'll get, everybody gets all the same information at the same time. And we can talk about it with the body. And hopefully they'll reduce some of the communication issues as we go and meetings. So I think that it'll be a big help.
okay.
And then Laura did have one question, when it comes to the AB 2619, is that one moving forward?
No, it'll just be, it'll come forward as information only, I believe. Is that correct?
yes.
So Laura, we won't really have anything in our study session that
Okay.
Public Works needs to present, is, I believe. That was the only item, right, Laura?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll let staff handle that one. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it.
Just want to get it right in the minutes.
Yeah. And then that Laura's minutes really make the chairman and Public Works look good. So thank you, Laura. Anything else? Well, let's adjourn then. Thank you so much, staff. I appreciate your time.